Hello, good evening, all of you. I think you may be taking a great pressure for the upcoming prelims. Civil Service examination scheduled to be organized on 24th May 26. So, guys, here it is Sanjay Bharadwaj, Senior Faculty of History, currently working with the Vision IAS Delhi. So, here the motive of this today's lecture is to decodify the meaning of Indian heritage and culture. And here basically the motive is to decodify the keystones of culture. This lecture will be around 50 or 55 minutes and will proceed like this. So, I think you got the meaning, the topic. Here it is, Indian heritage and culture, and basically it will revolve around the keystones of culture and is specially designed for the upcoming prelims of UPSC on 24th May. So, here I will try my best to give you topics and subtopics so that you can revise accordingly, and I can assure you around 7 to 8 questions will definitely come from this short discussion. Okay, fine. Without wasting your time, let us start. So, here we will move like this. So, see here, this short lecture will revolve around these 5 headings. First and foremost, I will try to clarify the meaning of heritage and culture and what is the ongoing trend, because still many of you are in a dilemma. You focus, you are not sure whether the syllabus is Indian heritage and culture or art and culture. Almost many guides and many educators are teaching the same component under the heading art and culture. Guys, the point is, unless you know the real meaning or requirement of UPSC, how you can identify what should be studied and what should not be studied. That is the primary motive behind this all lecture. In syllabus of UPSC, in the prelims, nowhere the word heritage and culture is referred, only history of India. But guys, keep in your mind, it is embedded in the prelims, although in the mains UPSC had clarified it under the heading Indian heritage and culture in the mains. But in the prelims, although it is not specified, but it is embedded in the syllabus of prelims. So, fine. So, firstly I will discuss what actually it means when we say heritage and how you can distinguish the two and what is the ongoing trend. Secondly, I will discuss the keystones of the culture. They are only 5 and 5. Almost 70% of the question coming in the upcoming prelims on 24th May of UPSC, I can assure you, questions will definitely come from the following themes. As I am having experience of more than 20 years in teaching and mentoring the civil services aspirants. So, fine. Let us start. The first point of discussion is what actually you means when you use the word heritage and how heritage and culture can be distinguished. So, we can start like this. This is very, very important because we have lot of guides in the market, but guys, many a time these guides, so called guides, can become misguide for you, because you are not sure actually what is the need of UPSC and what UPSC is demanding. So try to understand. As such, syllabus of prelims is not referring about heritage and culture, but it is embedded in the syllabus in the history of India. In mains, UPSC had clarified it. So fine. So in the prelims, we are having 100 questions, and every year 7 to 8 questions. This is a trend going on. 6, 7, 8, almost 16 plus marks. It means out of 100. So this can be a game changer for you. So first try to understand what do you mean by heritage and what do you mean by culture. See here. So first keep in your mind, almost elements of heritage are lying inside the culture, except few exceptions. This is exception. Like waterways, environment, landscape. So in short, I can just give you the meaning. When we say heritage, this term is a static term. Heritage is static. Culture is dynamic. So how we can distinguish the two? First, I have to understand what the culture means. The word culture has evolved from a Latin word cult, which means cultivate. It had evolved from a Latin word cult, that is cultivate. Even Hindi we call it as Sanskriti. Kriti means what you are cultivating. So try to understand in a very simple way how we can define culture, as majority of sociologists and social scientists, they have consensus on this point, that culture symbolize So take it very simple. When we use the word culture, it symbolizes patterns of beliefs and behavior evolved by the society. The word is pattern. Each and every activity is not a culture. So what sort of beliefs? Your customs, your values, your morals, your beliefs, which is evolved for the smooth functioning of society, it is called as culture. Even Edward Taylor, a great anthropologist, he had categorized almost in the same way. He is calling culture as a complex whole. As a complex whole comprising of your values, your traditions, morals, beliefs, and other capabilities evolved by the society in a particular time frame. So culture is always confined to a time frame. For example, I can say what is Mauryan culture, Gupta's culture, Chola's culture. So culture is always assigned to a time frame. This is a very important point. And whatever elements of culture which are transferred from generation to generation and are preserved today, not only preserved today, they will be carried for the future generation. That is heritage. So heritage is static term and culture is always confined to a particular time frame. And heritage can be called as keystone. Heritage can be called as keystone of any culture. Why keystone? Because it preserves the identity of a culture of any society. So I think you got my point. Culture is always confined to a particular time frame, but heritage symbolizes whatever cultural elements you have preserved till now and which you will continue further. So I think the meaning is very clear here. And now try to understand the second component, that is not second. One thing is very essential here. Almost all elements of culture you will find in the heritage, because culture means what the society is cultivating. But one point is very interesting here. If this is culture, this is heritage, this is the exception. So heritage comprises one exception also, which is not evolved by the society as such. Although all elements of heritage is evolved by society except this, that is nature forces, landscape, waterways, this all is also part of heritage. Even in the mains question has been asked in 2023, how history of India got shaped by the geographical forces, environment forces. So I think this short discussion is very clear. Hence in the syllabus UPSC is putting heritage and culture. Nowhere the word art is used. Art is the part of culture. Art is embedded in the culture. So I think this meaning is very clear. Now we can discuss the second component of discussion. What are the core topics? What are the keystones which you should just revise in this 1 month? Because today it is 8th and the exam is due on 24th. Almost you have 40 days. In these 40 days, what strategy you should follow? My serious advice is, and sincere advice is, focus on these 5 areas. And you can verify the truth that almost 6 and 7 question will come from these 5 domains, that is keystones of heritage and culture. And here I will discuss in brief about each of them and some important facts which can help you in the upcoming prelims. So let us start. So first, current and static themes. Guys, if you see the trend going in the last 6 years, UPSC is trying to ask questions by connecting the current with the static part. Current with the static part. You can see the examples in 2021. In 2021, what happened? This site was asked. Water management system. Why it was asked? Because in the same year it was declared as heritage site. You can check it. In the same year, UNESCO had declared this site as a heritage site. In the same year, UPSC is asking question on Dholavira. That is, current is combined with the static part. Similarly, last years we find a trend is seen here. That question is 1 and 2 question is coming from the UNESCO heritage site. Last year's Shanti Niketan, emblems of Hoysalas has been asked because they were declared as heritage site. And recently 2024 and 25, you will come to know that you know, in 24 what happened, UNESCO had declared this moidum, which is a burial mound basically of Ahom dynasty. They are almost 700 years old. Hence, you can expect the same on 24th May. It is a burial mound. The UPSC can correct the current and the static part. And here, be aware of it. It is the only site in Northeast which is a part of UNESCO heritage. Very important. So it is in 24, and recently, last year, here again you can find current and static equation again. In this year, UNESCO had declared Marathas military landscape comprising of 12 forts, 11 are in Maharashtra state and the 12th one is in Tamil Nadu, and this one in Tamil Nadu is Jinji, and you should be aware of it. After the execution of son of Shivaji, Sambhaji, his foster brother Raja Ram, from 1689 till 1700 had made Jinji as a capital of Maratha state after execution of Sambhaji. So here UPSC can connect the current and static part. So this Maratha forts, they are 12 in numbers, who had been now declared as UNESCO heritage site. 11 are in Maharashtra, for example Shivner, Raigad, but the one is only in Tamil Nadu, that is Jinji. Keep in your mind, it was the capital of Maratha state after execution of Sambhaji, that is son of Shivaji. So one point is very clear now, that questions are revolving around questions of current static theme can be asked. This is one example. Another example you can see, often I had found that in the prelims, almost every year, if not every year, every alternate years question is coming from here. Here again current and static equation can be made by UPSC. For example, some important points are like this. Remember, Lothal has been declared as National Maritime Heritage Complex by whom? By the Ministry of Ports. Secondly, the important point is Rakhi Gadi, very important site. If you look in the current aspects in two ways, and here you can UPSC can connect it with the static part, where it is in Haryana. So what is the current significance of this site? First and the foremost, now it had become the largest site, because 3 more mounds has been discovered. So it is a good message for the Indian heritage that now Harappan sites mein the largest site is lying in India, that is Rakhi Gadi. Earlier, Mohenjo-daro was claimed to be the largest site. But students, now Rakhigali will be regarded as the largest site because 3 more additional mounds has been discovered, making it the largest site. Second current importance of Rakhigali is, I think you have heard about a great scholar who was ex-VC of Pune Deccan College. His name is Vashant Sinde. So, why he is important regarding Rakhigali? Even Hindu and Frontline had covered the same point. He had made a genome study or DNA study of a woman of Rakhigali. He had studied the DNA of woman skeleton from Rakhigali and had proved it. It matches with the genome of not only Indian society but the whole South Asia. So really it is a moment of pride that modern Indians, yet today's Indians, people of Sri Lanka, Southeast and all, they all can be called as descendants of Hadappas, as finding by this Mr. Bhashan Sinde is proving it. So keep in your mind, this can be arranged in this way. So Rakhigali was in news. So in this way, current static theme is important. You should be aware of this point. Question can be coming, will revolve around these facts. And last year UPSC had asked question on dancing girl. From Mohenjo-daro, which was made up of bronze. So many students were saying, sir, question is very simple. No doubt question is simple. But guys, it was also connected with the current. Why current? Because this dancing girl was in news. Why it was in news? Because in 2024, especially on on 18th May, which is celebrated as International Museum Day, very important. International Museum Day, on this day our PM Modi ji had inaugurated a expo in Delhi, Pragati Maidan. In this expo, a dancing girl mascot, its mascot was a dancing girl matching with the same dancing girl found at Mohenjo-daro. Since the day was 18th May, question couldn't appear in the 24 prelims, but simply UPSC, that was in news basically. I think you got my point. So in this way, try to search out those current historical phenomena which were in news and also static part of it. Now see the second component. Now the second milestone, or you can say the second keystone, of this culture and heritage, which is very important for all of you, for the prelims of 26 is philosophy. Just take a short discussion over it. This is the most and the very most important topic or keystone of the prelims, especially under the heading heritage and culture. Around so don't waste your time in going through the guides and books now, only focus on these 5 headings, and the second heading is here it is philosophy in India, that is ancient and medieval both. But ancient mein the questions are oftenly UPSC is focusing on the ancient part. We are having 7 and 8 questions. I can assure you 5 and 6 will be from ancient. Around 1 and 2 or 3 you can say maybe from medieval culture. So don't scatter your time. So philosophy we will have 2 and 3 questions. Questions will revolve around Buddhism, Jainism, so in philosophy I will advise you, because in this short 40 days you cannot waste your time. So it will be wise for you focus only on these 3 aspects in ancient history, in ancient culture: Jainism, Buddhism, and Orthodox 6 schools of Orthodox schools, Sankhya, Nyaya and Kapil. Who are the propounders? What is the main philosophies lying inside this? And philosophy deals with only 2 aspects. One is with the reality, that is the soul is there or not, what Jainism says, what Buddhism says, what is salvation. Buddhism mein Hinayan, Mahayan, what some biographic details of Buddha, same is Mahavir. So here try to search out the biographical aspect of Buddha and his associates and what the philosophy says about Hinayan, Mahayan, the core differences and their sub philosophies evolving under Mahayanism, like Shunyavad, Vigyanavad, Madhyamikvad, Yogacharvad. So these all are very important. Same is in Jainism, Digambaras, Swetambaras, and again whether the Digambara, Swetambara means the same. So don't get confused here. Digambara and Swetambar and Hinayan, Mahayan, keep in your mind, here differences are superficial. Here differences are very fundamental. So since we cannot discuss in detail this all, my motive is simply to expose the keystones where you have to pay attention in this 40 days. Orthodox mein we have 6 schools of philosophies. Go through it. Next component in philosophy will be rise of Alvar Nayanar movement in ancient India. Very, very important. Go and see the last year papers, you can find almost within 2 years question is evolving from here. Alvar Nayanar movement, try to understand in short what it means. Those who promoted the worship of Shiva, you can easily remember Shiva has 3 eyes. So Nayanar means those saints who promoted the bhakti of God Shiva. Alvar means Vishnu. Here like Appar, here Kulshekha was a leader of this group. So we have bhakti saints in South India, where we find organized bhakti movement is taking place in the 7th, 10th century AD in South India. This is very important. So in South India, we find a movement by the name Alvar and Nayanar is evolving in South, not in North. It is post-Gupta period. But guys, keep in your mind, the element of bhakti is embedded in the Upanishad also, but it was not popularized at a mass level. First time in Gupta period, their conceptual point, try to understand. Elements of bhakti are, we found the messages in the Upanishad also, but was not popularized at a mass level. Although Upanishad gives the philosophy through the parables, that is moral stories. First time in Gupta period, when the material expansion was going in the coastal areas, forest areas, now a need was experienced in Gupta period. What need? How this new areas can be brought under pan-Brahmanism. The concept of integration of cult, very important. Integration of cult. That is, local cultures or little traditions should be merged inside the great traditions. That is why in times of Gupta period, temple architecture is evolving in an organized way. Why? Because common man, you can satisfy the thirst of common man, intellectual thirst, by simply giving him, showing him the structures, gods and temples and all. And the earliest temples in India, try to understand the point, note it. Earliest temples in India were not made in the mainland, they were made in the tribal belt of forest areas. Nachna Kutha temples lying nearby Jabalpur, they are lying in the Vindhya mountain ranges. That means it is proved by the fact that the birth of temple architecture is the outcome of integration of cult. In Gupta time, as expansion of material culture was going in the forest areas, coastal areas, to integrate the tribal beliefs in the Brahminical system, land donation to Brahmins got started, and side by side temple architecture got started. But here I am coming to the point, this movement, this type of movement cannot evolve in North India at that time. No doubt in Gupta period we have Puranas, 18 Puranas are there. First time the bhakti of gods are popularized in a simple classical language, Sanskrit language. That is, the need was experienced how to bring the common man under the fold of Brahmanism. And the outcome was the Puranas. The Puranas main motive is that it was how to deepen the roots of Brahmanism, cultural roots, political roots. They give the biography of all ancient kings and dynasties, biography of all rishis and munis. So this all started in Gupta period. But guys, the point is, in North India, Brahmanism was having a strong hold. And when we use the word bhakti, bhakti means common man. God is accessible to common man. No need of any mediator. Since North India, Brahmanism or caste system all evolved in North India, its roots were not deeply rooted in South India. That is why the earliest traces of organized bhakti movement in the name of Alvar Nayanar movement is taking birth in South, not in North. And mind it, in North it will take birth only after invasion of Turk, that is Muhammad Ghori, when all Rajput states collapsed one by one and North India came under the rule of Turkish rule. Domination of Brahmanism collapsed. Then we have bhakti movement in North India by Ramanand and all. So this is a logical way to understand the culture and history. That is why Alvar Nayanar movement is taking birth in South India, not in North India. Reason you got it. North it will come after the downfall of this Rajput dynasties one by one. Now the stronghold of Brahmanism got weakened. So here you have to search out the great saints who are contributing here. And questions are, I had gone through the last 6 years papers. Question may be factual, questions may be conceptual, question may be also analytical. So bookish, A superficial knowledge obtained from guide will not have any meaning unless you know the concept. Try to understand some more points about this Alvar and Nayanar. These saints not came from elite class. Many of them came from lower castes. You know the answer, because South India mein there was not a stronghold of Brahmanism. North mein it is a stronghold. They used local languages. Only then you can communicate with the common man. They made songs, musical instruments, promoted new instruments, this all. And many of these later, it provided the background of Bhakti movement which evolved in medieval India. So finally, even the kings of South India, like Pallavas, Cholas, they are giving them land donations, because they will move in the jungles and the remote areas and will promote Brahmanism. So in short, keep in your mind, this also signifies a driving force which had rooted the forces of Brahmanism in South India. I think you got the point. So this is very, very important. Around 2 and 3 question will come here. These 3 areas should be focused, nothing else in ancient history. Now coming to the next discussion. So we have discussed that philosophy is very important. Ancient history will focus only on 3 areas. Now coming to the third heading, literature. It is very, very important. Literature is a core part of culture. It expresses the beliefs of society in particular time frame. So here keep in your mind, broadly religious, secular, so here you should take these 3 aspects in your mind. So whatever religious literature, like Vedic literatures, may we have Vedas, Brahmanas, Aryankas, Upanishad. What they means, what is the literal meaning of Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samveda. Same is what is lying, which mantra is lying where, like Gayatri mantra is lying in the Rig Veda, 3rd mandala, composed by Vishwamitra. Same is religious, may you can come to the Jainism, Buddhism literature, Vedic literature, Jainism, Buddhism, these 3. Don't waste your time. Religious may only focus on these 3. Vedic literature, Buddhism, may we have lot of religious and secular. Same is Jainism. Secular may, it is again very important theme asked by UPSC in the last 6 years. We find almost 1 question is coming from here. So whatever court historians or court writers or playwrights like Patanjali, Chanakya, Bhash, so whatever texts or dramas they are writing, like Vishak Dutt, so these all is very important. Take a list of them, same, and just memorize it. Don't waste your time. But remember the important authors patronized by the kings till Gupta period. and hardly we are having a 24 of texts which are very important. Third, this is again very important, foreign travelers, their writings or their descriptions. It is a favorite question of UPSC. If you go and see the last 6 years papers and take it in a vice versa way, foreign travelers coming to India or Indians going outside. Like Megasthenes, what he is writing about India, Indica. In times of when Alexander invaded India, he brought a great historian along with him. Nearchus. UPSC can ask you, put in order. Remember, they accompanied the great Alexander. Then we have Megasthenes, sent by the king of Syria. The question can be arranged in different permutations and combinations. Either arrange in order, or UPSC can ask you match with the particular personalities. These first, Alexander, Megasthenes by the king of Antiochus, Syria, sent in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. Then we have series of Chinese traveler, Fahin Huinsang. Last year the question on Fahin has came. Fayan, Huinsang. So their description is very important, what they are writing about India. For example, his book is called as Siyuki, which means history of the West. It means history of the West. But keep in your mind, very confusing point is here. Fahin came in times of Chandragupta Vikramaditya, but he had not referred the name of the king. He had referred about society and culture, but not referring the name of the king. Huinsang was patronized by great king Harsh of Kannauj. He came in 630s, that is 7th century AD. Then we have E. Singh. Then we have Arabic travelers, Suleiman al-Masudi. Then we have al-Baruni in the early 11th century AD, which is called, his book Kitabul Hind is supposed to be called as a masterpiece work. Although he is foreigner, he is Muslim, but he tried to maintain his objectivity. He had praised some elements of the Indians, like Indians' knowledge on mathematics, Indian knowledge on astronomy, but he had criticized the narrow-mindedness of Indians, caste, untouchability, Sati, Devdasi, this and all. So guys, here try to understand what they are writing and what important findings they have provided. Simultaneously, you should be also aware, if any Indian thinker is going outside, that is vice versa. Last year a question was asked, Sudharman, a Buddhist monk of 4th century AD, went to China. So be mentally prepared, not foreigners coming inside, Indians going outside also. So Sudharman went to China and he wrote many books. The famous book he composed is Sarvastivād Vinay. Sarvastivād is a philosophy of Buddhism. So he wrote a book. Same as Dipankar was sent in Tibet in times of Palas. So you can search it out. The foreign travelers and their writings, their findings. So this heading is very clear. Now the next heading will be, next very important heading will be regional political states. Regional political states. So see how you can prepare it. This is again very important. If you go and see the last year papers, regional political states in ancient India, questions can be regarding I had seen the nature of questions coming from these states. Either UPSC can ask you arrange in order, small states, their order, or their capitals, and be mentally prepared. Question can be also come from this point, their capitals at that time and the modern name. Or any important personality. So if you go and see the last year papers, one thing is common. Whatever question is coming for regional states in ancient India, it is revolving around these three themes: chronology, capitals, and personality. Just take an example, because due to shortage of time, we cannot discuss in detail this all. And the primary motive of this lecture is simply to express the keystones which can help you in clearing the prelims, because these 7-8 questions in art and culture can be a game changer for you. And today and nowadays, you may be having tremendous time pressure. So I found that at least I should clarify some topics which are very important, keystones, so that you can focus on these topics in the last moment. So just I am giving you how you can keep in your mind. First I am talking about chronology. Especially till Guptas, history is moving in a very till Gupta period. You start from Mahajanpad period and Gupta period. It is a turning point. India had a new incarnation. Mahajanpad means a new incarnation of India. All of a sudden you find on the map of India 16 Mahajanpadas. More than 60% in the Gangetic Valley. There are a lot of states. Question can come from there also. Last year question has been asked. Which pair is matched or which pair is mismatched? Ashmak, Gandhar, this and all. So take a just note of the states, their capitals. For example, a question has been asked 7 years back. Janpadas, which capital of Janpadas were lying beside the river Yamuna? It was Vats. The capital is Kausambi. Earlier it was a part of Prayagraj, and today is a separate district, 30-40 kilometers away from Prayagraj. The questions are very, revolving around very minor facts. Don't waste your time. Only take out their locations, their capitals, any important king, like Prasenjit of Kaushal, who was a follower of Buddha. He patronized a great Ayurveda Acharya of that time, Jivak, who was a personal physician of him. Jivak, a great name. Whenever he was even sent to the many kings to cure different diseases. Even Buddha, he also treated Buddha many times. And this Jivak, you may be shocked to know, was a son of a Ganika named as Salvati. But she had thrown this child to protect his fame, because how can an unmarried dancing girl can have a child. So she had thrown this child, and the same child became a phantom of medical science. His name is Jeevak. So fine. So to try to search out micro facts revolving around these kings or personalities and all. So states mein you got the point. Mahajanpad period. India got a new incarnation. All of a sudden you have 16 Mahajanpadas. Before we don't have any Janpadas. And how these Janpadas take into birth? It was the equation of M1, M2, M3. Simply a concept behind how these Janpadas came all of a sudden. It is not a magic. The forces which shaped this Janpad period, new incarnation, is M1 means monarch, M2 means merchant, M3 means masses, and fourth element is Gahapati, landlords. So finally, in a later Vedic period, you find this nexus was evolving, and this nexus gave birth to the territories and states and the mighty empires, which are called as Janpadas and Mahajanpadas. So coming to the point, we have lot of states from Mahajanpad period till Guptas. So here we have large empires, everybody knows about it. But UPSC is asking questions on small regional states evolving after Guptas. That is very challenging for us. No guide and book had covered in a simple way. We are confused who is coming after Guptas in chronological order. So I am giving you a chart here just for 2-3 minutes. Try to have a तो chronology में because till Gupta everybody knows about it, but UPSC will not ask you from there. Either from Mahajanpad period, keep in your mind, Mahajanpad period, location and important personalities thereby, and just post Gupta period. Now Indian polity got scattered, fragmented. We have lot of small states taken this way. We are moving anti-clockwise. So just so small states taking birth in post Gupta period. Number one is Maitrak of Gujarat. They were having some parts of Rajasthan also. Their capital was Vallabhi. And if you cross Rajasthan, above Rajasthan we have Haryana. There we have Pushyabhuti, dynasty of Harsha. Pushyabhuti capital is Kannauj. Since we are moving in anti-clockwise way, Haryana touches western UP. Here we have Kannauj. Here Makharis. Now you are coming in Bihar and Bengal. Here we have a dynasty by the name Gauda dynasty. The king is Shashank. Same just nearby Bengal. Above Bengal we have Assam. There we have this dynasty. The famous king was Bhaskar Varman, who was friend of Harsha also. So these micro facts. So these all are coming in post Gupta period. So in this way you can keep in your mind. So the chronology you got it. This is the way to remember. Second is their capitals, like Maitrakas, Vallabhi, and they all have the same. They all taking birth in the same time. Since Gupta Empire is 320, 570, that is end of 6th century AD. Because last year's UPSC had asked the question, which dynasty was there in the 7th century AD, 8th century AD. So these all which I have just written now, they all belong to end of 570s, that is 6th century AD. Second types of question can be their capitals and the modern name, like Patliputra. You may surprise to know Patliputra Today it is called as a Patna. It got named Patna by Sher Shah Suri. But in Gupta period, the same Patliputra was called as Kusumpur, Pushpur, Kushumpur and Pushpur. So these are interesting facts. The glorious cities, how their name got changed. So Patliputra became Kushumpur or Pushpur in times of Gupta period. It became Patna in times of Sher Shah Suri. It became Azimabad in times of Azam Shah after death of Aurangzeb. Cities and important personalities. Any distinguished personality like King Bhoj. We have two Bhoj. One is in Pratihar and one in Parmar. And 3 years back in 23, UPSC had asked a question which was revolving around Bhoj, Pratihar Bhoj, because it was in news in current affairs. So I think you got the point. At least 1 and 2 question is coming from here. This is chronology of post Gupta period, and you can see here the another famous chronology which will help you. That was chronology of post Gupta period. Here I am referring about chronology of post Harsha. Since Harsha governed for, Harsha is the king of mid of 7th century AD. Here again we have a lot of confusion because the dynasties coming in post Harsha, they are presented in such a way that many a time students have a confusion how to arrange in order. So just I am giving you a chart for it. So it is post Harsha. You know, Harsha died 48, king of Kannauj. Originally the capital of his dynasty was Thaneshwar. When he died, he was not having any son. Political vacuum. Pushbhuti came to end. Round figures may just make it 50 for your memorization. To take the benefit of doubt. Even historians are having debate of 2 and 3 years. That means Harsha died around 650, round figure में 650. Then we have a vacuum. Harsha is having no son. We have political vacuum for how many years? Easily you can keep in your mind. It means 75 years means 50 plus 75. So after 75 years, again Kannauj came in limelight. Vacuum is 75 years. Again Kannauj came in prominence. Under a great king by the name Yashovarman. How many years he ruled? I am giving you a code because easily you can come to the point 725, 75 years vacuum. How many years he ruled? Just reverse these two numbers. Numbers, sorry. 25 का रिवर्स क्या हो जाएगा? तो ग्रेट किंग यशोवर्मन, his court historian had wrote a book to God Vaho, very famous book. UPSC can ask you in the literature component, God Vaho. The author is Vakpati, language is Prakrit. So after Harsha, the great king coming in Kannauj after 75 years is Yashovarman. How many years he ruled? Easily you can just arrange the numbers. 25 just opposite of 25, 52. And the great author, his status is same like Chanakya Vishak Dutt, a great writer. He wrote a book by the name God Vaho. Vaho means killer. God means king of Bengal. So he had wrote a book to praise the glory of his master, God Vaho, killer of Bengal king, and the author is Vakpati. So fine, coming to the point, how you can arrange the dynasties. This is post Harsha, 75 years, we have a king, Yashovarman. Dynasty is not aware, we are not aware, we don't have any records, we only have the name of king. He unified the whole Bihar and UP until Haryana and all. And again, see what happened. It is very interesting. We find oftenly those kings who are ruling Kannauj, they died without a son. Harsha's sister was married to the Kannauj family. Just try to catch the point. Harsha's sister Rashri was married to Kannauj family, Kannauj dynasty of Mokharis. She also became widow and was not having any son. Then Harsh came Kannauj, he is having no son. Yashovarman is coming, he is having no son. Again political vacuum. He died in 52, again we have vacuum. And since by this time Kannauj became a center of political activity in North India, just nearby Delhi. So after this, what happened? This is Kannauj nearby Delhi. After the death of Yashovarman in the mid of 8th century AD, what happens? We have three powerful states. One is of East India, Palas, West, Pratiharas, Deccan mein Rajputas. We have a fight for this. And in records we call as tripartite conflict. So UPSC can ask you, it evolved in which century? It is easily you can, no need to cram it. Just after Yashovarman, the mid of 8th century AD. It continued for around 5 decades. They are fighting for 5 decades, and who is the winner? Pratihars. And keep in mind, the earliest inscription of Pratiharas are lying in near Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Pratihar, that is the guardians of western frontiers of India. In their records, they claim their origin from a Brahmin by the name Harish Chandra. But you may shock to know, in the later records, they are claiming them as Kshatriyas. That is, Brahmins getting a status of Kshatriyas. Probably, they may be foreigners who got Indianized, and now they want to claim the Kshatriya status. And the most interesting thing is, in the later records, they claim their origin from Lakshman. And you know who is Lakshman? Brother of Ram. The very important cultural aspect, UPSC can ask you, which dynasty of ancient India claimed its origin from god Lakshman? Pratihars. Originally they were claimed they are themselves as Brahmins, natives of Rajasthan, but now they captured Kannauj, finally the whole Bihar and UP and all. But the fight was between double PR, Palas, Pratihar, Rajputas. Easily you can recall, these all three dynasties belong to which time frame? 750, 750, 750. And they governed almost for 200 years. 200 is a magic number. It is a magic number. Almost they governed for 200 years. Palas, Pratiharas, Rajputas. And one thing is very interesting. They all three are contemporary and they all governed around 200 years, except Palas. Palas governed for around 400 years. 750 to 400 means 1150, almost 1150. But this Pratiharas and Rajputas 200 years. Rajputas 750 to 975. So I think you got the point. In this way, easily you can, and you can make a mind map of this, how dynasties are moving forward. So Palas, Pratihar, Rajputas all are contemporary. 200 years is a magic number except Palas. And what will happen now? Try to understand. Palas. Finally, Pratiharas captured Kannauj. Post Pratihar. Keep in mind, Pratiharas are going on for almost 200 years, but finally, invasion of Mahmud Ghazni you know, was a turning point. The Pratihar king Rajpal surrendered, his reputation collapsed, and one of his Chandel governor son Vidyadhar killed the Rajpal. Pratihar empire came to end. So almost it is 200 years plus years. The Pratihar came to end. Then who is coming in post Pratihar? I am giving you a code. This way you can remember. So post Pratihar, easily you can remember triple C PG. Triple C PG. Here it is C for Chalukyas. Chalukyas of Gujarat. Chauhans of Ajmer, Sakamri. Triple C. Chandelas of Mahoba. They all are coming in early 11th century AD because they were the governors, feudatories of Pratihars. The same question has been asked by UPSC 3 years back. Which dynasty belonged to 11th century or 12th century? They almost all belong to early 11th, because they were feudatories of Pratiharas. They all emerged after the assassination of the master, Rajpal. So triple C PG is a code. They all belong to early 11th century AD. C, triple C. P for Parmar. Parmar means Malwa, that is Ujjain. Parmar. And the last feudatories captured the capital itself, Kannauj. Gahadwal. Originally they were of Kashi. You should know the capital also. They were but the capital. It means you got the point. They were the 5. So they all belong to which century? Early 11th century AD. So guys, this is a way to remember the macro dynasties. And here the motive is simply to give you the keystones so that it can assist your preparation, because in these 40 days you don't have time. You cannot waste your time in searching out. So these 5 topics are very important. The last and the foremost is so please, in medieval history, don't waste your time. In medieval history, I will advise you to focus only on this. Medieval में focus only on Bhakti movement. What is the meaning? What is their contribution? Because Bhakti movement became a pan-India movement in medieval India. Pan-India means Gujarat, Narsingh Mehta, Shankar Deva, Assam. So how they have promoted the message of Bhakti in different parts of India. Sufi means why Sufism is evolving. Try to search out, and a question can come in this way: why Sufism evolved? Reason is materialist inside the office of Khalifa. This is the basic reason. Khalifa deviated from the fundamentals, and Sufism evolved in Baghdad because Khalifa was deviating from the principles. So you have to search out these saints, their important contribution, their writings, because question is often come from this. And the next component is Vijayanagar Empire, very important. Here questions are often coming about either important kings like Kishan Rai, Dev Rai I or Dev Rai II. These 3 are the famous kings. In political component, UPSC can ask you the dynasties. Here we have only these dynasties: Sangam dynasty, Salu dynasty, Tulup dynasty or Vidu dynasty. Right from 1336 till Battle of Talikota. Finally, Vijayanagar Empire got disintegrated. It was a war called as Talikota, Rakshas Tangadi, where all Bhangani kings got united and the Vijayanagar Empire finally collapsed. We have great writers, travelers who visited the empire. Just go through it. So please have a detailed study of Vijayanagar Empire, focusing on the important personalities, only these three. Their relations with the Europeans like Vasco da Gama, this Portuguese governor Albuquerque, because Krishndev Rai had given the fort called as Bhatkal to the Portuguese governor Albuquerque, because Portuguese was supplying the good breed of horses. Hence, they want to make good friends with them, otherwise they'll become very close to Behmani. So, I think you got it. So, Vijayanagar. And lastly, last point is architecture and at least आर्किटेक्चर में केव आर्किटेक्चर, टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर, स्तूपा आर्किटेक्चर्स, दे आर द इंपॉर्टेंट डोमेन्स. पेंटिंग्स में यू नो हाउ पेंटिंग्स गॉट इवॉल्व, वी हैव फ्रेस्को पेंटिंग्स, अजंता इलोरा, एंड वी हैव लॉट ऑफ मिनिएचर्स पेंटिंग्स ऑफ पालास. तो इन दिस वे, एंड मेडिवल इंडिया में we find new type of architecture is coming, arch, dome, monuments. So go just have a brief survey of it, but here again give priority to ancient India. Medieval में hardly 2 and 3 question will be there. So I think aspirants, now it is very clear to all of you what topics should be focused at the last moment. My motive was to make you comfortable at this last moment of your preparation. So fine, wishing you all the best for the upcoming prelims on 24th May, and we will meet soon again with a new lecture on important topics of modern history of India. Okay, fine. Wish you all the best.